Test 1 2 3. Okay, I record. Hi guys, welcome to another Blender tutorial. Today I want to talk a little bit about Graph Editor in Blender. If you are a new subscriber, I upload Blender tutorials, of course, 100 subscribers, let's go. If you are a beginner, I think you're gonna learn something. If you are advanced in Blender, don't watch this tutorial because it's simple gonna be. This is part 1, of course. I'm gonna talk about Graph Editor, some obvious stuff. So, how to access Graph Editor? I am in Blender, as you can see. I'm just gonna click right here, and on the animation I have Graph Editor. I'm gonna just click, and this window just pop up. And basically the Graph Editor is like, you have those kind of lines on the information about this 3D space, if that makes sense. But to access those lines, we must create a keyframe. Okay, so I'm gonna just create a fucking keyframe. To create a keyframe, just select your cube or whatever object you want and just click I, and you can set up whatever keyframe you want. I want to set up location keyframe, and maybe I'm gonna move right here on this timeline, just on the 50, and I'm gonna move this up. So G, Z, and just move this up, and once again I'm gonna click E, and on the location I'm gonna click right here, and something's pop up, as you can see on this Graph Editor. Basically, what is right here? Because I set up the location keyframes, I just set up right here X location, Y location, and Z location, and I have 3 lines of the location on this Graph Editor. So this is the information, like I said, on those lines, if that makes sense. What is going on in this fucking 3D viewport right here. And if I'm gonna just click right here, I can hide those lines, if that makes sense. And I'm just selecting my Z location because I created the Z axis keyframe. Yes, this cube moving up, so this is Z direction. I always forget the directions, whatever. If I'm gonna just play, as you can see, my cube just moving up. Yes, simple stuff. I have just 2, like you can see, 2 keyframes, and this is some handles of those keyframes, and it's very important on those handles because you're basically playing with those handles in this fucking Graph Editor. But whatever, let me just explain more in this Graph Editor. You can travel in this Graph Editor more if you don't have broken mouse like I am. Just hold Control and middle mouse and just move wherever side. I can zoom in, zoom out, and by moving left and right, just Control and middle mouse and just move this direction on this direction. So you're gonna zoom in up, of course, and you're gonna zoom in right here, yes, if that makes sense. So Control and middle mouse and just move, whatever. I just selected my line Z, and I have 2 points. Yes, this is the point because it's starting right here and it's moving right here. Yes, the keyframes. And basically you can change on the Graph Editor the time. Yes, of course. So if I'm gonna just move this, wait guys, because I selected 2, I just want to select this fucking keyframe. If I'm gonna just move this, it's gonna take longer, yes, to my cube to bring this up. So this is the time direction, of course. So if I'm gonna just move this right here, it's gonna be faster, yes, of course. So you can edit those keyframes, if that makes sense, in this Graph Editor, and you can edit the value too. So if I'm gonna just bring this up, this is the value on this. So up, I'm gonna just move, it's more the values gets, it's higher gets, if that makes sense. As you can see, it's higher than, I suppose, right here. Yes, so I can control the position, as you can see, by just grabbing this, and you can play on the negative values too. So this is 3D viewport, so you can play right here. Maybe it's about, because this is 0.0 basically, and you can play, of course, on the time too. Yes, so you can play on those directions, on those lines. So I'm gonna just unselect this, and I'm gonna select maybe the Y, And as you can see, even if I create the Z location keyframe, if that makes sense, I have those two keyframes right here too, because this basically creates a fucking location keyframe, if that makes sense, and location is in three-dimensional, if that makes sense. But nothing is happening because I just moved the cube up. I'm not moving the on this Y location, yes. But I can edit this. I can edit, as you can see. Wait, guys. I can edit, as you can see, and play out the values, yes, too. So maybe if I'm gonna just move this right here, it just bring right here and it's moving right here, yes. So you can play around with the keyframes basically in this fucking Graviditor, and on the X of course too. So if I'm gonna just drag this, I can play around, yes. This is simple stuff. I'm just gonna set up this fucking Z. I'm gonna focus. Maybe I'm gonna zoom in more. Wait, guys, because my fucking PC. Okay. I'm gonna select and Z. And you can rotate those points. So you can select this point and just rotate this. Okay. And this basically creates some kind of this fucking fuck my English. You get it. It's changing. The curve is changing, and your animation is changing with this curve, basically, because you're playing with the values on the values and on the time. So this curve is basically okay, something like this. But if I'm gonna just maybe rotate this curve something like this, it's gonna be different, yes, animation. So you basically make it can make it something like this, sharper or whatever, yes. So you can rotate the those handles, and you can adjust the animation. You can make it smoother, whatever. So I'm gonna just select maybe those two keyframes and just click T, and we have three right here, this kind of curves, yeah, if that makes sense. So I'm gonna just set up, and this is very like information 0 to 1. Nothing's happened, and just pop up. Nothing's happened on the Z direction, because remember, I just playing on the Z direction. It's playing on the Y direction because I create some stupid shit, but focus on the up. Nothing, and it's pop up, because this is 0 and 1, if that makes sense, yes. So T, and you can make it maybe just select and make it something like this. So you have three values, yes, if that makes sense. You have this kind of and this kind of line, yes. Basically, just maybe I'm gonna select this handle and just click V, and you can choose free, and you can just select this point and rotate those points differently, yes. I can select this point and this point. I don't have to select 2 points. So V, this is free, and if I'm gonna just click right here, these two are connected, yes. So this is just like I said, very basic stuff on this Graviditor. You can basically change this kind of curve, and you have different results on the animation, because you can make it smoother, you can make it not smoother, yes, sharper or whatever, but the values is not changing. Okay, you can change the values, but the values is not changing. The smoother animation you can make another stuff in this Graviditor, and it's not only working on the location, it's working of course on the rotation, on the scale, on this fucking Graviditor. So whatever information is right here, you can edit right here on this Graviditor, yes, by using those fucking lines. So maybe we're gonna set up so rotation, why not? We have this stupid stuff, and maybe we're gonna create a rotation. So I'm gonna just click N, and maybe I'm gonna rotate this on the Y axis. So I'm gonna just click I, and I'm gonna select rotation, and maybe if brings to the frame 40 or whatever, I'm just gonna rotate this something like this, and I'm gonna maybe a little bit less because it's gonna pop up more, and I'm gonna click I and just click rotation. And as you can see, more lines pop up because we have location and now we have rotation in our graph editor. But you can hide those stuff, okay, by clicking those icons. And as you can see, like I said, it's more pop up, but you can change the values, of course. Maybe I'm gonna change the values, wait guys, because my mouse is fucking shit. So it's working on the rotation too, yes. As you can see, this doesn't rotate too much, but as you can see, if I'm bringing this up, it's rotate. So it's working on the rotation, and you can of course play around on the rotation too. But basically you must it's all about those fucking lines, those curves. How smooth your animation gonna be, how smooth your character gonna walks, or maybe jump or whatever. You can edit this in the fucking graph editor. I hope you get it. Fuck my English in this tutorial. I need some content. Maybe you're gonna learn something in this fucking tutorial. If not, sorry for wasting your fucking time. But yeah, my English is fucking mess. Sorry guys for this. Thank you for watching this strange tutorial. See you on the next video.